We shall begin today's session. Bring your palms together at the heart center. यस्त्यक्त्वा रूपमाद्यं प्रभवति जगतो अनेकधानुग्रहाय प्रक्षीणक्लेशराशिर्विषमविषधरो अनेकवक्त्रसुभोगी सर्वज्ञानप्रसूतिर्भुजगपरिकर प्रीतये यस्य नित्यं देवो हि सहसो भव्यात् सितविमलतनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently bow your head down. Bring yourself to the class. Prepare yourself for the session. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes. Extend. Namo Namaha. Hari. The session is being recorded. Yes. So we discussed the sutras that brought us to Yama Niyamas. We saw what are Yama Niyamas. Nishiddha karmebhyo yoginam yamayanti nivartayanti iti yamaha. Yamahas are the one which separate the yogi from prohibited actions in yoga. They are useful for separation. And while seeing, we discussed about ahimsa, satya, and now we will progress from there towards the next. Which is the next?
Asteya.
Asteya. What is asteya?
Non-stealing.
Non-stealing. Non-stealing. So, asteya will usually involve not keeping anything with us which does not belong to us. Asteya also means accepting everything I get as per the shastras or scriptures. Whatever I am receiving in life, whatever gift anybody is giving me, should I accept it? Is it whatever I am accepting in life, all kinds of acceptance I am making in life, is it in accordance with the yogic scripture, practice of yoga? Am I allowed to accept what I am accepting? Very, very carefully we must think, whatever I am accepting in life, to whatever degree, is it acceptable? So, for example, a person who has, done a heinous crime and wants to donate. So, the one who is taking the donation, the ashram, must think, is that the right way for the donation to come in? So, whatever I'm accepting, what is the background of it? Is it taken forcefully from somebody? For example, we say, one product we take is animal being tortured for it. Similarly, whatever I'm consuming, has any human gone through any kind of harm or violence? So accept whatever you do in life which is free from violence. We saw that all the yamas and niyamas are going to support the main one, the most important one, which is ahimsa. So lawful acceptance, asteya, lawful acceptance. You can write it as lawful acceptance. And lawful will also mean not more than what is required. Lawful acceptance will also mean not more than what is the requirement. And certainly non-stealing, that is, not eyeing what belongs to others. After Asteya, Brahmacharya. So yesterday when we read the Sutra, we saw that Brahmacharya in its commentary is a sign or is opposite to what I'm going to mention. What is Brahmacharya? Especially if you are on the path of yoga, Brahmacharya first involves, in the commentary, like it says, Brahmacharya guptendriyasyopathasya samyama. That is complete restraint and control of Guptanga, the organs of reproduction. First, we had seen the purpose of a relationship of marriage is not to invite each other into carnal pleasures, but to help each other rise above carnal pleasures. That is for a grahastha. What about the one who is a sannyasi? Let's see. One who is a monk, one who is a yogi, full time into the practice of yoga. It is said, Brahmacharya, the vow of celibacy, Brahmacharya, vow of celibacy, is broken by a monk even if there is smarana, that is thought of a female for a man, or for a female of a man, one who has taken monkhood. Not only thought, charcha, talking, is also breaking the vow of Brahmacharya. Kirtan, discussing, speaking to a woman or a man, smiling, seeing, prekshanam, seeing with desire, speaking unchaperoned, that is, speaking in solitude to each other, reducing the physical distance or space. All of these, which are way before any kind of intimacy, all of these are also said to be the ones which break the vow of celibacy. So it begins from thinking, thought. For a grahastha, that is one who is in family life, what is brahmacharya? Ekendriya, whoever is your partner, to be with one person, and how to rise above carnal pleasures. And for one who is a monk, even thought, even seeing, talking, smiling, completely forbidden in monkhood. Yes, very, very strict. Why? Why it has to be so strict? Because any physical desire, we see, leads to the wastage of the energies of the body, which are to be preserved in the practice of yoga. So when you are in grahastha, family life, there is a different set of laws. Same brahmacharya, when you are in monkhood, is become very, very strict. Have you made the note of this? 8. Yes. Next, aparigraha. What is aparigraha? Minimalist life. Non-hoarding. Minimalism everywhere. Why minimalism? Because if there is minimalism, if I own less things, if I have less things around me, I have less thoughts in my mind. It's directly connected. Aparigraha, not hoarding, giving away. If it is in excess, giving away. And how much is allowed? Yoga Sutra says, शरीर रक्षा के अलावा वस्तु रखना, अर्जन करना परिग्रह है. Apart from securing the body, protecting the body from harsh weather, anything excess you keep is parigraha. That is opposite of aparigraha. Apart from protecting the body from weather, whatever you need for sustenance and protection of the physical body from the climatic conditions, anything apart from that, and anything which is 2 in number instead of 1, all of that is parigraha, collection. So to attain chittavritti nirodha, all the objects you see around you also occupy a place in your mind. Everything that we own, whatever are our possessions. So we must start consuming very, very less. Hoarding, no hoarding. Absolutely no hoarding for us. Animals, they hoard for one season. You must have seen ants. Rainy season, they will hoard for one season. They are allowed to do that. Humans, how much are we allowed to hoard? Up to 1 year. And if we have children, up to 5 years. Not how much you're allowed to keep with you. And what we do? We make retirement plans. And we invest for 50 years and 60 years. Because we feel security only comes from finances. What about emotional security? What about physical security? Mental security? So, aparigraha says this Sutra 30. Ityete yamaha. All of these are yama. Which are the ones? Ahimsa, satya, steya, brahmacharya and apari. Make a note here. Whenever there is violence, 6 times pranayam, practice of pranayam is required. 6 times, that is 6 kumbhaka, 6 times holding the breath is required for the smallest of sin incurred. Still we have this in aparigraha. In India, whatever, to practice aparigraha in day-to-day life, whatever you cook, some portion of it must be given to either a monk, a sannyasi, a person who is dear to you, known to you. If you're a teacher, you're a student, if you're a householder, there must be at least 1 or 2 animals fed, whatever that you cook every day. That is the daily practice of aparigraha. With complete love, you accept and you involve others as a part of whatever good things you're enjoying in life. That is daily practice of aparigraha. How can you practice aparigraha? Just write one more note from Mundaka Upanishad here. Satyameva jayate nanutam satyena pantha vititato devayanaha. Satyameva jayate. For that, for the practice of truth, practice of silence is very, very important. For the practice of truth, Satya, practice of silence, at least 1 hour every day. Now that we are studying this, you must start practicing silence at least for 2 hours, if possible, every day, either in the morning or evening. No mobile phone, nothing, no talking, no listening, no reading, no writing, nothing. And as per Manusmriti, 6 times, 6 pranayam at least, 6 rounds of pranayam every day must be initiated in our practice of yoga sutras. Practical work, what are we going to do? Practical sadhana. See, every sutra brings its own sadhana for us. So what is the sadhana of this sutra? At least 6 rounds of pranayam every day to be practiced. Whatever sin that may be occurred by me, may it be. And along with this 6 pranayam, what needs to be done? 2 hours of silence. Maybe 1 hour as soon as you wake up, 1 hour before you go to bed. You may choose your time and practice. Or if not possible every day, 5 hours once a week. Half day once a week. Yes, we have a question. Yes, Ji.
Yes, madam. Sorry, I'm not switching on camera because I'm undergoing some skin treatment, so I don't want to be showing. Can you just clarify this technical question of 6 rounds of pranayam? What does it mean by 6 rounds? Like, for example, if I prefer, let's say, as being Vata dosha, I prefer something balancing as Nadi Shodhana or Anulom Vilom. So how do I incorporate it in this practice of yamas niyamas?
So, depending on what is the pace of your breath, right? If your breath is shallow and faster, your practice of pranayam will be quickly concluded. So 6 rounds, let's take it for 6 minutes or 5 minutes every day.
Okay.
5 minutes. Make a note of 5 minutes of at least every single day without mistake. Therefore, pranayam is added in Sandhya. What is Sandhya? Evening. It's a part of whenever in the evening we offer water to the sun. In the rituals, in the yogic rituals, ritual part of it, we do the worship of the sun. Surya Namaskar, like you do with the asanas, we also offer water to the sun in the morning and evening. And this pranayam is already included in the evening sadhana. You compulsorily do it when you do the sandhya in the evening. Sunset ritual. Sunrise and sunset rituals are to be practiced by the yogis, men and women both. So this, just to complete this every day, prayaschitta, everyday redemption of anything that has happened, Sandhya is, in the Sandhya it is included, the practice of pranayam. How much time you can do it? 5 to 6 minutes. Ji, yes, you have a question.
Any pranayam depending upon your, you say depending upon your
Nadi Shodhan is the best. Nadi Shodhan. Just keep some space for footnotes for every sutra, because I will be taking from certain Upanishads. I will be taking from different references and sharing it with us. The Smaranam, Kirtanam, Keli, Prakshanam, Gruhya Bhashanam, which I have mentioned, the types Viparit to Brahmacharya. Right there, Daksha Smriti, like you have Manu Smriti, it comes from a text known as Daksha, Daksha, Daksha Smriti, Smriti. So when you say brahmacharya is complete, when there is no thought of physical or carnal desire in the mind. That is when, even as a sannyasi, even if you've taken the vow of monkhood, brahmacharya becomes complete, and only after then you have certain siddhis, certain experiences that are attained. Yes? Yes, your question.
Namaste ji. So about brahmacharya, so it is normal keeping the sadhana daily, that even if we are not voluntarily in brahmacharya, we have a partner, a husband, the desire really goes completely down for both. It is normal, this.
If you are in grahastha, the purpose that we say is to slowly reduce. So in grahastha, Rajaswala Paricharya. So as per the yogic scriptures, intimacy is allowed only 4 days after the menstrual cycle. Once, 4 days in a month. Slowly you make it to 1 day in a month. After you have children, after you have your family, after certain years of marriage, you reduce it to intimacy to once in a month. Then once in 3 months. Then once in 6 months to once in a year. But until you're planning a family, until you have children, what is allowed the right way? 4 days after the completion of your menstrual cycle. So 5th, 6th, or 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th day. Those 4 days are only those 4 days. Apart from that, there is no intimacy allowed, because you will see aging happens faster in women because of that. Only these 4 days, the moon energy has been dominant, therefore the sun energy is not dominant. She is fit to bear children. She is fit to have her family without affecting the natural course of the body. So these are the rules for this. Now let's progress to Sutra 31.
Guruji,
Sure.
I had a question. Guruji, the every word that is mentioned, I endeavor to follow it to the T, and with the Asteya and also Satya. Since yesterday, I've been contemplating on this, and there is challenges not just from operating within the samsara, where these value systems do not exist, but widely so. They exist within people, but lie dormant. It appears as if it limits, at least from my situation, it limits the areas of work that I can choose, for instance, because everything hurts human beings that I see. And I'm not looking at dosh darshan, but I look at like from both positive and negative perspective, but I don't see if I'm currently not looking for work. I've resigned from my last position, but any industry that I look at has
some amount of violence. Yes.
That's right. And so my quest is really to go. I look at it from a perfectionist perspective, as to go the absolute purest form of application within myself, as I endeavor to follow this. And over the last since we've begun this journey, since last year, since I came into know you and learning from you, what has happened is, in fact, it's completely eroded almost every part of my life, and to put me in a position where teaching this stuff and uplifting people's life becomes the only rational choice to be earning. So that's where it's headed for me, and in a quite of like a race car. And for that, I'm okay with it, but I think there is significant tensions that I encounter within the family where nobody is able to understand because the amount of intensity with which we are studying this, I don't have the authority to teach them or give them the knowledge. Plus B, when they don't have that, it becomes more murkier, almost invisible to them as to what the change is. And what that's triggered, at least now, Guruji, is that I find myself completely, even though I'm in Grahastha and I live in Samsara, I find myself to be invisible to a point where it's I'm like I can't go back and I can't move forward with so it's like navigating on a boat that I'm not even rowing myself. So with the level of asteya and the level of brahmacharya that you mentioned, because it's already been spoken and it's gone through to me, I wonder what's the level of intensity that one must look out for while following the ultimate at the end, eventually.
Yes. So like the question that we have for ahimsa, because that is the yama that, out of the 10 yama niyamas that we are trying to follow, just like the question was asked now by you, some student must have asked Sage Patanjali, and therefore he gives us the solution right in the next sutra, how to do it. Because it may not be possible in all spheres, in all areas of life. There is no working which may allow complete non-violence. So how do I go about it? So we have the next sutra.
Apologies. I should have waited.
No. This Sage Patanjali answers your question. Let's chant. Jati Desha Kala
Kala
Samaya Anvichinnaha
Samaya
Anvichinnaha
Sarvabhauma Mahavratam
Sarvabhauma Mahavratam
Jati Desha Kala Samaya Anvichinnaha
Jati Desha Kala Samaya Anvichinnaha
Sarvabhauma Mahavratam
Sarvabhauma Mahavratam.
Sage Patanjali in the sutra says, okay, if that is the challenge, how to be completely free from hinsa, violence, and to practice all of these yamas while we are in the samsara. How to do that? Sage Patanjali says, make them mahavrata. Mahavrata, that is greatest vow we have taken in life. Mahavrata, vow. And how do you do it? Based on Jati Desha Kala Samaya. Jati. Let's see the bhashya. It will give us the understanding. Tatra ahimsa Jatya Vichinna Matsya Vandakasya Matsya Sheva Nanyatra Hinsa Saiva Desha Avachinna Na Tirthe Hanishamiti Saiva Kala Vichinna Na Chaturdashayam Na Punyahina Hanishamiti. So Sage Patanjali says, apply the rule of Jati, that is species, then Desha, place, Kala, time, and Samaya, situation. Means what? Take help of Jati, Desha, Kala, Samaya, species, place, time, and situation. For example, one who is born as a fisherman, Jati, born as occupation as fisherman. His livelihood is dependent on fishing. Now he will take a vow that apart from killing fish, there will be no other hinsa done by me in any other area of life. So, Matsyasya Vandakasya Matsyashveva Nanyatra Hinsa. Apart from killing fish, for my livelihood, there will not be a single himsa occurred by me. That is jati vichinna. Desha vichinna. Also being born as a fisherman, apart from in the fishes also, I will choose not to kill the fish of a particular place, holy place, like Rishikesh. So further it reduces, further it narrows down. Then kala vichinna. Even if I am a fisherman, I will not go fishing or earn my livelihood on spiritually important days like Ekadashi, the full moon, Purnima, new moon, the rainy season, when the fishes, the swarms, they are multiplying. So I will not earn my livelihood during that time. So we saw jati, desha, kala time. And samaya vichinna. Samaya vichinna. As per the situation, if I have to kill on a certain day for a certain situation only. So imagine a fisherman says, first I will only have violence for my livelihood through fishing. Then says, I will not do fishing in certain places. Then says, I will not do fishing in certain timings or important days or tithis. Now finally says, even if I am a fisherman, I will only go fishing when there is urgency or if there is time of death. That is, it's a physical need, or maybe it's an order from the king, or some emergency has occurred for livelihood. Only then I go for fishing. Imagine one who is born fisherman, whose occupation is based on fishing. How does this person narrow down? And it is said, such a person slowly moves towards upper varnas. You see, it may also be a secret method to move across varnas. Varnas are divisions of the society based on labor. So Brahmanatva Palya, least non-violence, makes this person fit for taking knowledge of the scriptures. So though born fisherman, first said I will only have violence in fishing. Then says I will fish everywhere else except for spiritual places. So it narrowed down. Then said I will only fish every day but not on Mondays and Thursdays. So it again narrows down. Until a point where he says I will only fish when it is emergency necessary to feed the family or somebody else. So that's how reduction of himsa has taken place. So this is known as jati vichinna. What is anvichinna? Anvichinna means will never do. So from vichinna moving towards anvichinna, will never do. Ji, Shailaji, you have a question?
Ji, what you just said about the jati, in today's world, in the professions that we choose and the things that we are naturally born with are different, and the things that we're choosing and formally getting trained are so different. Then how do we navigate that?
Formally trained, whatever we are formally doing, apart from our occupation. Take it in our occupation. Now this is for ahimsa. Similarly, it goes for all. After ahimsa, what is the next? Next
Satya.
yama after ahimsa, satya. So satya, again what will you apply? Jati, desha, kala, samaya. I will not speak lie or falsify with certain elders in front of the guru, to the closest family members. Then kala and desha. I will not indulge in untruthful words when I am in Rishikesh. I will not, or I will practice truth specifically on Mondays and Thursdays. Kala vichinna. Until anvichinna. Until I completely establish myself in the practice of truth. So similarly, until I am in grahasthashram, before sannyasa, I may be in a position or a job where I have to lie for some reason. But apart from that area, I do not lie anywhere else. And until I am working, I shall. So if one is there, rest has to be completely nullified. Then we call it vichinna. Vichinna to anvichinna sarvabhauma in all spheres. Will never do is sarvabhauma, no matter what circumstances. एभिर्जाति देश काल समयैर अन्विच्छिन्न अहिंसादयः सर्वथैव परिपालनीयाः सर्वभूमिषु सर्वविषयेषु सर्वार्थैवादि व्यभिचाराः सर्वभौमा महाव्रतम इति उच्यते. So similarly with ahimsa, it applies to all the other yamas also. This sutra only discusses ahimsa, but says similarly applies for all the yamas. For satya, so there was, whenever we speak of satya, very good example of Kayat comes to me. Kayat was a Kashmiri Pandit, very, 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 very brilliant boy from Kashmir, which is northern part of India, very brilliant. And he had come to Kashi to study the scriptures. Now, Kashmir is said to be, some areas of Kashmir were believed to be the knowledge for Brahmins. It was said the genes, there was, the blood was not pure. So therefore, Kashmiris were abstained from studying the Shastras for some time. But there was one, and what was his name? Kayat. So he came to Kashi to study the scriptures, and that time this knowledge was only given to the upper caste which was into teaching, that is Brahman Varna. Only the teachers were taught. And these teachers then were allowed to teach other students. So to learn from the highest guru, you had to be of a certain social order. And then he was denied teaching. So what happens is, since he is denied to enter and he has a longing for moksha and to study the scriptures, Kayat starts standing outside the room where the teaching takes place, the hall. And the teacher is teaching. 20 students are inside, great pandits, very sharp by intellect, memorizing everything. And it so happens that months and months, Kayat is standing outside and listening to the scriptures, because not able to have the darshana, not able to see the teacher, unable to hold a book or study formally, is not a formal student. So listens. After several months, one day, the guru asks a question in the class from what has been taught. A particular sandhi is asked. None of the students are able to answer. And from the window, Kayat answers the question. So Guru says, apart from 20 students, I have not. This is a Gupta Jnana. This is Gudha Rahasya, very sacred, secretive knowledge. I have not given it. Where is the 21st voice? It didn't come from the class. So the teacher moves out to see where the voice comes from. So Kayat is standing with his head down, does not look up to the teacher's face but to the feet. And the teacher says, who are you? From when did you come? How did you get this knowledge? Kayat says, 24 hours I have been standing every single day outside in your attendance, Swamiji. And then Swamiji says, I don't remember seeing you anytime. He says, I hid myself from your sight, not to aggravate you or not to anger you. So the Guru says, then how did you survive? You're in the ashram, you don't come for meals. He said, on the Manikarnika Ghat of Varanasi, the Pindadana, the food that is offered to the dead, I go to the ghat every evening, eat that and come back. So that has become prasadam for me to survive. So the Guru has tears in his eyes that such a student who is eating what? The food which is left as pindadana for the ancestors, which is left for the dead to eat as an offering to them. So he invites Kayata in the class and he says, you're the highest Brahmin I've ever seen. And he calls a Mahasabha. He calls all the Brahmins and he says, that time there was, this is a true incident, very recent. He then, Raja Ranbir Singh of Kashmir, by his name, a Vidyalaya is opened and Kashmiri Pandits are then allowed to study the scriptures in Kashi. So you have to be exceptional. Even if there has been years of trauma, one exceptional person in the lineage changes the fate and destiny of the entire lineage, of the entire bloodline. So you have to be really exceptional to change. So whenever Satya is spoken, so he was asked, how did you? He says, I was standing out and this is the truth, but I don't have any dakshina to give you. This knowledge doesn't belong to me, and that's why I didn't even take the knowledge you have given me outside of this premises. I didn't go out except for sustenance, and I came back and I was in the campus. I will never teach this. You have given it to me. I'm not allowed to teach it. The teacher says, no. Then the teacher formally initiates the student and then the teaching takes place. So the practice of truth, Satya, also involves longing for the higher truth of life. Not only Satya, practice of truth by words, but also longing for the highest truth of life. That is the knowledge of moksha. So Sage Patanjali says, similarly, you must apply to all the other yamas. In fact, Kayat is said to have written Mahabhashya Tika. He became a great scholar and wrote many texts. Ahimsa, Mahavratam, Satya. After Satya, Asteya. What do we see in Asteya? How will you practice, you think? Jati, Kala, Asteya, Jati. From certain people, I will not steal. A robber who is very ethical. In the olden times, even if you are a robber by your profession, you couldn't rob the teachers and you couldn't rob the saints and certain institutions. So that is Jati. Desha. You didn't rob people of certain spiritual places. Kala. There was no stealing, no robbing on certain days. And Samaya. Only when there is certain emergency. Like for example, the Shastras allow stealing in only one case. When it is death, time of death, and there is famine, there is a Adi Bhautika Dukkha, external calamity. So to sustain your family, if you have to steal, Shastras say you can. That is, no papa is incurred. If you have children, to feed them, to sustain the family, not to make the family rich, to sustain the family as the last resort when nothing else remains and you have children to feed, you have family to feed, and you have to unlawfully procure something. It doesn't count as sin. Then after this, Brahmacharya. Again, Brahmacharya will come from Jati, Desha. I will abstain in certain places. I will abstain on certain timings. I will abstain in certain situations. And Aparigraha. That's why when you go on a pilgrimage, you are not allowed to carry anything. You go as a Aparigrahi. I can collect, I can hoard everywhere else. But when I come to Rishikesh, when I go to Kedarnath Yatra, I only carry one extra pair of clothes with me. That is practice of Aparigraha. Jati, Desha, Kala Samaya. At least 1 month in a complete year, I will live on 2 pairs of clothes. 1 month in the entire year, I will practice to live on 2 pairs of clothes. Wash one, wear one. Wash one, wear one. I will try to do it. I will ensure I live in an ashram or a place. That's why you come, even when you come for your teacher training courses, it's like that 1 year when you have very minimal things around you. 1 month. So at least once in a month, you should go and stay in an ashram. Stay in a place where nothing belongs to you, and whatever you eat is the other's donation. That is like a bhikkhu, like a bhikshu. That the food that you eat is with gratitude that somebody has given this food to me, I have not paid for it. So it is said you must go and stay in ashram at least 1 month every year. 20 days, 10 days once a year to practice aparigrama. Walk barefoot if you can. 10 days, walk barefoot when you're in the ashram, when you're on a pilgrimage, when you're in spiritual practices. Says this. So all of these, when you follow, what do they become? Mahavratam, greatest vows ever. Mahavratam. Just like Kshatriyas, they're allowed to be into violence. The king is allowed to kill to protect himself on the war field. So I hope you are able to understand the concept of ahimsa better and the importance of limits. We shall conclude here for today. Next session, we begin with niyamas. If you have any questions, you may ask. Either you have not understood anything or you have understood everything. There are no questions. In either case, write to if you still have any.
Guruji, just an observation. So since we've studied Samadhi Pada to now, and as we are living through each sutra, I find now to be more, how do I say this? It's like maybe I'll write it to you. Maybe I'll write it. It will need some formation of thought to word, because I just need to choose the right words. I need to think about that.
Okay. Then we will share the answer with everyone. So it helps others also.
I'll write it in the group.
Anyone else who have a question, you can ask. We conclude then for today with Purnamadaha. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently bow your head down. Seek blessings of sage Patanjali to be on the path of yoga, to carry forward with the Mahavratam we have discussed. When you're ready, gently lift your head, open your eyes, extend your eyes. Namo Namah, Hari Om. Namaste. We meet next week. Hari Om.